Now that you've walked through the full map of this Crossroads ritual, the real question is, will you act, or will you keep waiting for luck that never comes? The spirits of the Crossroads do not answer those who hesitate. They answer those who prepare, who speak with respect, and who pay what is owed. If you truly want prosperity, you cannot remain a spectator. You must step into the ritual and put your own coin on the ground. What paths in your life are blocked right now? What opportunities keep slipping through your fingers? What debts weigh on you, or what doors remain closed no matter how hard you push? Imagine them opening. Imagine money, influence, or protection flowing where there was nothing but silence. That vision can be more than imagination if you dare to use the code. The ritual for prosperity is not myth. It is technology for those bold enough to test it. So I'll ask you directly, are you ready to pay the toll and walk into a life where abundance answers when you call? Or will you keep walking past Crossroads without noticing the guardians waiting in the shadows? The choice is yours, but prosperity favors the brave, not the passive. If this knowledge has stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Put it into action. And if you want to keep unlocking these hidden systems, the spells, the contracts, the forgotten truths, then subscribe to this channel, activate the notifications, and walk with me deeper into the unseen. Because this was only the beginning. What if prosperity doesn't fall from the heavens but instead hides in whispers at the edge of forgotten paths? Imagine the stillness of a dirt road where two ways meet. Not just an intersection, but a living threshold of choices, debts, and promises. Those who step into this liminal place feel the weight of countless footsteps before them, each one carrying desires, fears, and bargains sealed in the dark. It's here, in the shadow of the silent dead, that a Crossroads ritual begins to breathe, weaving destiny with the courage of those who dare to ask. The ordinary passerby sees nothing, but those who know Yo, they hear the faint hum of spirits waiting to be addressed. The idea might sound unsettling, yet it carries a strange logic. Roads connect, divide, and decide, just like life itself. To stand at the crossroads is to face the raw blueprint of destiny, infinite paths compressed into one trembling moment of choice. And when the seeker whispers a prayer or places an offering, the very air thickens, as though the earth beneath remembers old pacts. A ritual for prosperity performed here doesn't feel like prayer. It feels like negotiation, like knocking on a locked door until someone finally opens from the other side. Those who listen closely report a sensation, a pull, as if invisible eyes are measuring the worth of their request. These places are not sacred in the way temples are. They are sacred because they are raw, exposed, and watched by forces who care little for worship. The spirits of the crossroads are not polite angels or distant gods. They are precise, transactional, and sharp as a blade in the night. When one stands there holding honey, coins, or whispered intent, the air turns into a courtroom where contracts are signed in silence. Prosperity here is not a gift, it's an agreement. And that agreement carries the gravity of debt. Pay what you owe, or the balance tips against you. That is the secret heartbeat of the occult prosperity ritual that has terrified and fascinated seekers for centuries. Think of how the ancients understood this. Farmers would leave grain, travelers would bury trinkets, merchants would cast coins into the dust. These weren't gestures of charity, but down payments on a road cleared ahead. The secret crossroads ritual has always carried that practical tone. If you want abundance, you must show you are serious enough to invest in it. Just as in business, where a handshake means nothing until money changes hands, so too do the powerful dead demand proof. Honey, fire, and coin are not symbolic alone. They are signatures in the unseen ledger. When ignored, the request dissolves like smoke. When honored, the contract holds weight. Many who tried these paths describe moments that feel almost cinematic. One man swore that after leaving a coin smeared with honey at a dirt crossing, his blocked debts suddenly began to resolve. A new client called the very next morning. Another told of a prosperity spell done at midnight, where the silence was so loud it felt like a drum beat under the earth. Weeks later, unexpected inheritance money arrived. These are not coincidences in their eyes, but responses to coded offerings. The ritual is not about begging, it's about issuing a command written in sweet amber and sealed with metal. The spirits know the difference between pleading and paying. It's important to realize that the forbidden ritual for money at the crossroads is not theater. It's technology in a different language. Just like a programmer types lines of code that machines obey, so too does the honey act as a script that the spirits of the crossroads read and execute. Cinnamon stirs movement, cloves open the field, ginger ignites force. It's a system, a sequence, a logic written not on screens but in jars and flames, and when combined with the solid stamp of a coin, the program runs with eerie precision. Many think of it as superstition, but those who've tested it know results don't care whether you believe, they care whether you follow the code. And yet, the greatest paradox lies not in the ritual itself, but in who exactly responds to it. For when someone whispers into the jar, places it at their altar, and finally walks to the crossing with their 7 coins, they are not calling upon gods. No, the guardians here are closer, hungrier, and more exacting. The road belongs to the dead, and the dead are excellent accountants. To truly understand who listens at the threshold, one must face an unsettling revelation. These are not distant beings in heaven. They walk among us, wearing names that still echo through Brazil and beyond. The Crossroads ritual has many faces, depending on where you stand in the world. In Brazil, the guardians of these intersections are called Exu and Pombagira, fierce, precise, and impossible to ignore. In Haiti, one might meet Papa Legba, the gatekeeper who speaks all languages and opens the way between the living and the unseen. In parts of the American South, whispers tell of the man at the crossroads, a shadowy figure who offers talent, wealth, or influence in exchange for loyalty. Though the names change, the pattern does not. The powerful crossroads spirits are not distant gods but local custodians of fate, demanding to be paid for every road they open. That's the first truth outsiders must grasp. These beings are not worshipped like deities. The Exu ritual explained shows that in Brazil, offerings are not prayers of devotion, but transactions, paid directly to the spirit who owns the crossing. In Cuba's Palo traditions, the dead themselves are consulted at road junctions, their bones or names invoked to secure protection. In Louisiana, coins, rum, and cigars are still left at crossroads for unnamed spirits, especially during hoodoo workings. Each culture has its own rules, but all echo the same law. If you want passage, you must negotiate with the one who stands guard. Consider Pombagira. In Brazil, she embodies desire, influence, and magnetic charm. A Pombagira ritual can sway hearts, ignite passion, and pull money toward the practitioner. Yet compare this with traditions in West Africa, where female spirits of the road demand palm oil and cola nuts rather than honey and coins. Or with Mexico, where offerings of tequila and cigarettes are left for Santa Muerte at certain thresholds. Different gifts, different names, but the same principle. Honor the one who holds the keys to the road you wish to walk. In Brazil, they call them Exu and Pombagira. Fierce, precise, insistent. They open roads. They crave neither temples nor prayers. They demand exchange. This is not a local superstition. It's a global pattern. In every land, there is a keeper at the crossing, unseen but present, waiting to be addressed. A secret crossroads ritual in New Orleans may involve rum and black roosters, while in West Africa, it might mean spilling gin or milk into the dust. What matters is not the flavor of the offering, but the recognition of authority. The crossing belongs to someone, and without payment, the gate remains shut. That's why the occult prosperity ritual always includes an act of giving, not as worship, but as acknowledgement of ownership. Imagine walking through someone's house without knocking. It feels intrusive, even rude. The crossroads are no different. When you leave coins, honey, or another offering, you're not feeding spirits in the sense of hunger. You're paying rent at the threshold, and that act of payment is what gives your words weight. Without it, requests dissolve like smoke in the wind. With it, they become binding contracts that the spirits of the crossroads take seriously. Stories across nations confirm this. In Brazil, a shopkeeper leaves honey and coins for Exu, and business flourishes. In Mississippi, a blues musician buries a black cat bone at midnight and suddenly plays with impossible skill. In Haiti, a farmer offers cassava bread and rum to Legba and finds his harvest spared from storms. Each case reflects the same prosperity spell. You pay the gatekeeper, and the road opens. Ignore the payment, and nothing moves. Recognize the keeper, and doors once closed begin to shift. The seeker must remember, you don't always know the name of the one in charge, but that doesn't matter. Whether it's Exu, Legba, Santa Muerte, or the nameless man at the crossroads, the principle is universal. Every crossing has an owner. Your job is to acknowledge that ownership, to leave the payment and to ask clearly what you want. And once you grasp this, the next question becomes inevitable. How exactly do these spirits read the coded offerings we leave? How can honey and spices speak a language that the dead can understand? At first glance, honey looks like nothing more than food, sweet, golden, and comforting. But in the Crossroads ritual, honey is never about feeding, it's about coding. Think of it this way. Just as a programmer writes commands that a machine can read, honey mixed with the right spices becomes a message the spirits of the Crossroads can understand. It is not about taste, it is about vibration. A ritual for prosperity doesn't succeed because the spirit eats your honey. It succeeds because the honey carries a command, a directive written in sweetness and fire. The honey of attraction is language in disguise. When seekers whisper their desires into a jar, they are writing a spell line by line. Add cinnamon, and the code says, move. Add cloves, and the code says, expand. Add ginger, and the code says, ignite. Each ingredient is not random but intentional, chosen to write a sentence in the grammar of the unseen. A secret Crossroads ritual becomes, in essence, a contract drafted not in ink, but in sugar and spice. And once the jar is sealed, it holds more than ingredients. It holds instructions, waiting to be executed at the crossing. Those who practice the occult prosperity ritual know the difference between symbolic offerings and coded offerings. Symbolic gifts might please the spirit, but coded gifts tell the spirit what to do. That's why honey is heated, whispered over, and infused with intent. The heat activates the mixture, like electricity running through wires, so the message burns brighter in the unseen world. This is not superstition, it's precision. The Crossroads spirits are accountants, yes, but also interpreters. They can read this coded sweetness as clearly as a banker reads numbers on a ledger. Let's make it real. Imagine writing your intentions on a piece of paper. Money, love, success. You burn it, letting the smoke wrap around the jar. That smoke becomes part of the code, carrying your desires into the mixture. Then you whisper into the jar, sealing your breath with the honey. Breath is life, and when you offer it, you're embedding your own energy into the recipe. The esoteric prosperity ritual turns this jar into more than a container. It becomes a command center, alive with your intent, ready to be delivered when placed at the crossroads. Think of the honey as a USB drive, carrying encrypted files. Without the right software, the files are useless. But with the proper reader, they open pathways, unleash documents, and activate programs. The spirits of the crossroads are that software. They read the sweetness, the spice, the breath, and the smoke. And they know exactly what you want. Moved, removed, or revealed. That's why a prosperity spell with honey works across cultures. It's less about the taste and more about the clarity of the code. Spirits don't need sugar, they need direction. Personal accounts bring this to life. One woman performed an occult ritual for abundance with honey, cinnamon, and cloves. Within weeks, her stagnant job search ended with 2 offers arriving the same day. She didn't see it as coincidence. To her, the honey was the letter, the crossroads was the post office, and the spirits were the couriers. She had written her request, paid her toll, and received her delivery. That's the rhythm of this mysterious ritual for wealth. Code, deliver, and collect. The more precise the code, the stronger the result. And yet, honey is only the beginning. The real depth of the ritual comes not just from what you place in the jar, but from what you do with it afterward. Whispering your intent is one part, but activating the jar with fire and finally carrying it to the crossing is another. For honey may write the code, but without fire and coin the contract is incomplete, which leads us to the next stage, how the jar of honey is awakened with flame and delivered to the threshold where the spirits wait. The heart of the rite begins not at the crossroads but in your own hands, with the honey. In a crossroads ritual, honey is never food. It is the medium of code, the golden ink that writes your desires into the unseen. Spirits do not eat it, they read it. When combined with spices and breath, honey becomes the honey of attraction, a mixture that tells the spirits exactly what you want: money, prosperity, protection, open roads. Without the honey, the ritual has no voice. With it, your petition becomes a command. The preparation must be exact. Take a new hermetic glass jar, wash it with water and 7 pinches of salt, and let it dry naturally. Inside, you place 1 cup of pure honey, 2 cinnamon sticks, 1 tablespoon of whole cloves, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, grated ginger, a dried lemon peel, vanilla, and a pinch of cardamom. Each ingredient is chosen not for taste, but for meaning. Cinnamon moves, cloves expand, ginger ignites, lemon peel purifies, vanilla seduces, cardamom refines. Together they form a coded sentence, and the honey carries that sentence like parchment carries ink. Before sealing the jar, you add your will. Write your desires on a piece of paper: money, success, love, protection, then burn it. Let the smoke curl into the jar, filling it with the essence of your request. Lean close and whisper into the open honey, speaking your desires as if speaking into the ear of the unseen. Your breath is your signature. In that moment, the honey mixture becomes alive, not food, not offering, but instruction. This is the secret of the occult prosperity ritual. The spirits don't eat sweetness. They execute the code written within it. Activation comes through fire. Place the open jar in warm water so the ingredients release their properties without breaking. Remove it, seal it, and light a tea light candle on the lid. As the flame burns, speak again. Say, "May my roads open, may prosperity flow, may abundance come." Keep the jar on your altar for 7 to 21 days, speaking to it daily. This waiting period allows the code to mature, the honey absorbing your voice until it becomes a living command. By the time you carry it out, the jar is no longer ordinary. It hums with your intent, but the ritual is incomplete without the payment. After the honey has matured, you prepare 7 coins, washed with salt water and anointed with the mixture. These coins are the contract itself. The honey holds the message, but the coin is the binding signature. Without the honey, the spirit does not know what to do. Without the coin, the spirit has no reason to act. Only together, sweetness and metal, do they form the full contract of the prosperity spell. At night, you walk to the crossroads. But not any crossroads. It must be alive with movement, preferably near shops, where people and money circulate daily. The spirits of the crossroads thrive in places where energy flows. There, you kneel, place 1 coin, and first ask permission. With respect, I ask permission from the one who rules this crossing. I bring my payment. Then you state your petition clearly. Open my paths, bring me prosperity, draw money into my life, protect my steps, fill me with good encounters and opportunities. This is the essence of the forbidden ritual for money: respect, payment, clarity. 7 coins, 7 different crossings, 7 payments. Each time you repeat the act, ask permission. Leave the coin anointed with honey. Speak your request. You may not know who rules each place: Exu in Brazil, Papa Legba in Haiti, the man at the crossroads in New Orleans, Santa Muerte in Mexico, but the owner of the road always knows when he has been paid. Once you leave the coin, walk away without looking back. The contract has been signed. The esoteric prosperity ritual is complete, and the road is no longer blocked. And yet, why 7? Why not 3 or 9? Why must the honey be sealed and awakened with flame? Why must the coins be 7 and the crossings many? The answer lies in the secret mathematics of the rite, in the ancient code of completion carried by the number 7, a code that closes circuits and binds fate itself. 7 is not just a number, it is a seal. In the Crossroads ritual, everything revolves around this rhythm: 7 days, 7 coins, 7 crossings. Why? Because 7 is the number that closes a circuit, like a lock snapping shut. Without it, the ritual feels unfinished, like a sentence cut mid-word. With it, the contract becomes whole, unbreakable, and binding. Every culture that works with Crossroads knows this truth, whether in Brazil with Exu, in Haiti with Papa Legba, or in New Orleans with Hoodoo traditions. The ritual for prosperity leans on 7 because it is the sacred punctuation mark of the unseen. Think about it. There are 7 days in a week, 7 classical planets in the sky, 7 notes in music, 7 layers in many heavens and hells, 7 signals cycle, rhythm, and closure. When you place the 7th coin, you're not just paying again, you're closing the loop. The spirits of the Crossroads recognize that signal instantly. It's their language for finished, complete, ready to act. Without 7, the request hangs in limbo. With 7 detours, it moves like an arrow released. This is why the occult prosperity ritual insists on no less and no more. In practice, this rhythm shapes everything. 7 coins, each washed and anointed. 7 separate crossings, each alive with commerce. 7 requests, spoken with respect. And sometimes, 7 nights of walking before dawn, carrying the honey and coins through the city. It might feel exhausting, but exhaustion is part of the payment. The spirits count your effort as much as your money. They know whether you walked once or walked 7 times, and they respond in kind. That's why the prosperity spell often brings results in waves, because each act is a line of code written into reality. Personal accounts reflect this law of 7. A man in São Paulo swore that after leaving his 7th coin, his debts suddenly lifted. An old friend repaid money forgotten years ago. In New Orleans, a woman walked 7 nights with coins and whiskey, and on the 7th, her failing shop received an unexpected flood of customers. Coincidence, perhaps? But those who practice the secret Crossroads ritual know better. The 7th act closes the ledger. That's when the spirits sign back. There's also danger in breaking the rhythm. Leaving only 3 coins, skipping nights, or ignoring the sequence weakens the request. It's like trying to build a bridge with missing planks. The spirits see the gap and refuse to step across. This is why old masters warn, if you cannot commit to 7, don't begin at all. Better silence than half-spoken words. The forbidden ritual for money demands completion, and completion is always spelled with 7. 7 is also symbolic of exchange. Each coin represents a request sealed, one for open roads, one for protection, one for prosperity, one for abundance, one for opportunity, one for influence, one for money itself. You can assign intentions to each coin as you walk, whispering, this one for my work, this one for my home, this one for my family. By the 7th, your whole life is written into the ritual. The esoteric prosperity ritual becomes not just about wealth, but about aligning your entire existence with flow. And so, when the 7th coin touches the ground, the code is sealed. You've spoken, you've paid, you've completed the circuit. Now the road truly opens. But it's not enough to know the rhythm of 7. One must also know to whom these requests are made. For the owners of the thresholds have names, stories, and tempers of their own, and their identities shape the way the ritual unfolds. To truly understand the Crossroads ritual, one must know the spirits who stand guard. They are not gods seated in distant heavens, but local rulers of thresholds, precise and demanding. In Brazil, their names are spoken in whispers and chants. Exu, the relentless opener of ways, and Pomba Gira, the fiery sovereign of desire and influence. Yet move beyond Brazil, and their faces shift. In Haiti, the gatekeeper is Papa Legba, who holds the keys of communication between worlds. In New Orleans, seekers tell of the man at the crossroads, a shadowy figure who bargains with talent and fate. In Mexico, Santa Muerte reigns at certain thresholds, cloaked in death yet granting protection and prosperity. The spirits of the crossroads are many, but their law is one. No road opens without exchange. Exu is not evil, though outsiders often mistake him for the devil. He is sharp, cunning, and transactional, a master of movement, the one who twists or untangles destiny at will. The Exu ritual explained reveals that he responds not to worship, but to precision, payment, clarity, respect. Pomba Gira, on the other hand, governs the powers of attraction, influence, and intimate control. She moves in the realms of love, seduction, and money, reshaping the flow of desire to favor those who honor her. A Pomba Gira ritual is never light-hearted. It carries the weight of passion turned into power, and those who call her must be prepared for results. But the truth is broader. These names, while powerful, are not universal. Each land has its own guardians, its own dead who rule the roads. What matters is not whether you know the name, but whether you show respect. The occult prosperity ritual works because it aligns with the principle of ownership. Every crossing belongs to someone, and that someone listens when you pay. Some practitioners say that even in places where no tradition is known, the act of asking permission and leaving coin awakens the unseen ruler. You may never know their name, but they know yours once you've spoken. In Brazil, they call them Exu and Pombagira. Fierce, precise, insistent. They open roads. They crave neither temples nor prayers. They demand exchange. This phrase holds true everywhere, though the names change. The lesson for seekers in America, Europe, or elsewhere is this: do not be distracted by titles. Look at the principle. When you stand at a crossing in New York, New Orleans, Mesa, or São Paulo, the rule is the same. Someone owns it, someone hears, and someone waits for payment. The secret crossroads ritual is less about who and more about how. Personal stories confirm this across borders. In Brazil, shopkeepers whisper to Exu at midnight, leaving honey and coins, and find business thriving within weeks. In Haiti, a farmer pours rum for Legba at dawn, asking for protection over his crops. In Mississippi, blues musicians once told tales of bargains struck with the man at the crossroads, exchanging coins and words for unearthly skill. In Mexico, families light candles for Santa Muerte at street corners, asking for safety and prosperity. Different names, different faces, but always the same law of exchange. The danger comes when one forgets this diversity. Outsiders often mock or fear these spirits, calling them demons or devils. But those who work with them know better. They are guardians, accountants, and mediators. They balance the unseen ledger of give and take. If you pay, they open. If you cheat, they close. This is why the forbidden ritual for money is never casual. You are not asking for charity. You are negotiating with sovereigns who understand contracts better than most mortals ever will. And yet, names and titles are only part of the code. Just as the honey mixture encodes your request, each spice within it adds its own voice. Cinnamon pushes, cloves expand, ginger ignites, lemon peel cleanses, vanilla seduces, cardamom refines. To know the guardians is important, but to know the syntax they read is even more crucial. For the honey is the letter, and the spices are the grammar through which the spirits act. The untrained eye sees nothing but kitchen herbs. Yet in the crossroads ritual, spices are no less than words in an ancient language. Honey is the parchment, but spices are the syntax that builds meaning. When blended into the honey of attraction, each ingredient carries a vibration, a command, a precise instruction. The spirits of the crossroads do not eat this mixture, they read it. What looks like a recipe is, in fact, a coded sentence, a spell written in flavor and fire. Cinnamon is movement. Sharp and fiery, it pushes energy forward, stirring stagnant paths into motion. In a ritual for prosperity, cinnamon whispers to the unseen. Move things along, break the delay, push opportunity closer. That is why so many spells across cultures use it for money and success. From Brazilian Exu workings to American hoodoo money-drawing bags, cinnamon has always been the messenger of swiftness. Place it in honey, and your request starts walking on its own legs. Cloves are expansion. They open fields, enlarge influence, stretch your reach. When combined with honey, they tell the spirit, spread this request wide, let it multiply. Merchants in colonial ports once burned cloves in shops to draw more customers. Hoodoo practitioners used them in mojo bags for luck. In the occult prosperity ritual, cloves expand your chances, ensuring your wish doesn't stay locked in a single door but knocks on many. This is why they are essential in the coded mixture. Ginger is fire. It ignites, accelerates, forces action. Without ginger, a spell may linger in the air. With it, results come faster, often suddenly. In Crossroads work, ginger commands, do it now. It's the spark that tells the unseen to move with urgency. A prosperity spell without fire may take months. With ginger, the spirit knows speed is part of the deal. This is why so many who practice the forbidden ritual for money insist on including it. Ginger makes the spirits act like lightning. Lemon peel is purification and clarity. Dried and ground, it slices through confusion, removing obstacles and hidden blockages. When placed in honey, it says, clear the way. Let no shadow block this request. Across cultures, citrus has been used to cleanse spaces and break bad luck. In the esoteric prosperity ritual, lemon peel ensures your petition reaches the spirit clean, stripped of interference. It tells the keeper, deliver this unburdened, pure, and sharp. Vanilla is seduction. Its scent tempts, draws, persuades. In Crossroads magic, vanilla tells the spirits, make this request irresistible. Sweeten the outcome so others cannot refuse me. Whether in love charms in Mexico or prosperity workings in Afro-Brazilian rites, vanilla has always been a lure. In honey, it softens your petition, making it more likely to be granted. The secret Crossroads ritual relies on this magnetic pull to bend events gently in your favor. Cardamom is refinement and influence, subtle but powerful. It shapes outcomes with elegance. Where ginger forces and cinnamon pushes, cardamom persuades, elevates and grants authority. It whispers, do not only give me money, give me influence, give me respect, let others see me with admiration. In ancient markets, cardamom was worth its weight in silver, used to draw nobility. In Crossroads magic, it refines the code, ensuring that what comes isn't crude or chaotic, but aligned with dignity and grace. Together, these spices form a sentence. Cinnamon moves, cloves expand, ginger ignites, lemon peel clears, vanilla seduces, cardamom refines. Written into honey, this sentence becomes a petition spirits can execute without confusion. The occult secrets for prosperity are not vague prayers, but coded directives. And once the honey carries this sentence, all that remains is payment. The coin, the contract, the binding seal that transforms request into reality. In the Crossroads ritual, the honey mixture carries the code, but the coin is the contract. Without it, the spirits have no reason to act. Think of the honey as the letter you've written, full of words, requests, and emotion. The coin is the signature at the bottom, the legal mark that turns writing into binding agreement. The spirits of the Crossroads are not deities who grant favors out of charity. They are sovereign keepers of thresholds, accountants of unseen ledgers. They move when they are paid. That is why the ritual for prosperity demands both sweetness and metal. One gives instruction, the other seals obligation. Coins have always carried power beyond currency. They pass through countless hands, absorbing the flow of trade, the sweat of labor, the energy of exchange. To anoint them with the honey of attraction is to charge them with your request, turning ordinary money into sacred contract. In the occult prosperity ritual, washing coins with salt water purifies them, erasing their past ties. Honey binds them to you, aligning them with your petition. By the time you place them at the crossroads, they are no longer common coins. They are signed agreements, stamped with both your will and your payment. The act is deceptively simple. You kneel, place the coin on the ground, ask permission from the keeper, and speak your request. You do not leave the honey itself. You leave the coin anointed by honey. The honey carries the instruction, the coin enforces the deal. Together, they tell the spirit, "Here is my command, and here is my proof of seriousness." This is why the secret crossroads ritual is not devotion, but transaction. No temple, no worship, no hymns, only clarity, code, and coin. Many fail because they forget this truth. They offer food, flowers, or words alone, hoping the spirits will grant favors freely. But the forbidden ritual for money makes no room for charity. The spirits of the threshold are precise. They want payment. This is why coins, not flowers, are universal. From hoodoo in the American South, where coins are buried at corners, to Afro-Brazilian traditions where exu is paid in metal, to Haitian practices where offerings are always paired with exchange, the contract is currency. Without it, no road opens. Consider how ordinary life mirrors this. If you walk into a store, you cannot leave with goods by simply praising the shopkeeper. You must pay. The crossroads works the same way. The prosperity spell is not about worship, but about purchase. Though the purchase is unseen, you pay not with endless prayers, but with coin and clarity. The honey is the invoice, the coin the payment, and the spirit, like a merchant, delivers exactly what was agreed: money, prosperity, protection, or opportunity. It's important to note that payment must match petition. If you ask for wealth but leave nothing of value, the spirits may ignore you or, worse, block your way. Respect is shown in the seriousness of your exchange. The esoteric prosperity ritual requires that the seeker treat the act as a contract. You don't plead, you negotiate. You don't hope, you pay. And when the contract is signed in honey and sealed in coin, the spirits act swiftly because the balance is clear. But contracts cut both ways. To pay is to bind yourself as well. If you ask and receive but fail to respect the agreement, the spirits remember. The occult secrets for prosperity carry warnings. The same hand that opens roads can close them. The same spirit that delivers money can turn streams dry. That is why practitioners speak of respect as much as power. The coin is not just a gift. It is your word in metal, and once given, it cannot be taken back. And so, every seeker must walk carefully. Pay with honesty, speak with clarity, and never break your side of the deal. For at the crossroads, contracts are sharper than swords, which leads us to a darker truth. What happens when someone disrespects this exchange? When promises are broken or greed outweighs gratitude? Every crossroads ritual carries power, but also danger. The spirits of the crossroads are not cruel for sport, yet they are precise. They do not forget, and they do not tolerate disrespect. When you enter into a pact, however small, you are writing your name in a ledger the spirits keep. If you pay what you promised, speak with respect, and honor the exchange, roads open with ease. But if you neglect, delay, or mock the deal, the very paths you asked to be opened may slam shut with a force you cannot ignore. A ritual for prosperity is never one-sided. It is a contract, and contracts cut both ways. Practitioners across cultures warn about this. In Brazil, it's said that those who fail to keep their word to Exu may find not fortune but chaos, business drying up, relationships falling apart, sudden misfortune where once there was luck. In Haiti, if Papa Legba is disrespected, communication falters and opportunities vanish as though doors never existed. In the American South, stories of the man at the crossroads often end with talents turning to burdens, fame soured into scandal, wealth lost overnight. The forbidden ritual for money is powerful, but power is neutral. It bends either toward blessing or punishment, depending on how you hold your end of the deal. Why does this happen? Because spirits of the threshold are guardians, not servants. They enforce balance. Just as a banker demands repayment or a lawyer enforces contract terms, so too do these spirits ensure the ledger is fair. The honey writes your request, the coin seals your intent, but your actions afterward prove whether you meant it. Negligence is read as betrayal, and betrayal breeds consequence. This is the hidden danger behind every occult prosperity ritual. To play with contracts without honoring them is to sign against yourself. Real stories underline this truth. One shopkeeper in Rio de Janeiro left offerings for Exu, asking for wealth. Prosperity came quickly, but she stopped paying, assuming the first exchange was enough. Within months, thieves broke into her shop twice, and debts began to pile again. She confessed later that she had promised regular offerings but never followed through. Another in New Orleans claimed talent at the crossroads, but mocked the ritual afterward. His sudden fame collapsed in scandal within a year. The prosperity spell works, but so do its penalties. This is why old masters insist on respect, clarity, and consistency. If you cannot keep your word, better not to start at all. A broken contract offends more than silence ever could. The esoteric prosperity ritual is not superstition, but system. Inputs yield outputs. Payment yields favor. Disrespect yields punishment. The spirits are neither moral nor immoral. They are exacting. They act according to balance, not kindness. And that balance demands truth. Even neglect can turn sour. Some seekers forget to ask permission before placing the coin, or leave offerings at dead, empty crossings instead of vibrant ones alive with commerce. Such mistakes are read as carelessness, and the spirits, insulted, may withhold favor. Others ask for more than they can handle, demanding riches but refusing responsibility, and soon find themselves drowning in chaos instead of prosperity. This is the unspoken risk of the occult secrets for prosperity. The spirits give what you asked, but if you asked wrongly, the lesson will sting. So seekers are urged to approach with humility, speak clearly, pay faithfully, and never forget your word. For at the crossroads, contracts echo louder than prayers, but those who honor the deal find not only money, but doors they never dreamed could open. And once this truth is learned, both the blessing and the warning, the seeker is finally ready for initiation, to step beyond superstition into knowledge, which leads us to the final revelation. The ritual is not just a trick for wealth, but an initiation into the language of the dead and the courage to walk roads with eyes wide open. A crossroads ritual may look like a trick for quick money, but those who walk it soon learn it is far more. It is an initiation. Every coin placed, every word spoken, every permission asked is part of a training, teaching you that prosperity does not come free, that every gain has a price, and that respect is the true currency. When the spirits of the crossroads respond, they don't just give wealth, they give knowledge of exchange. They show that the world itself runs on hidden contracts. To perform a ritual for prosperity is to learn how to live with eyes open to these laws. The seeker who completes the occult prosperity ritual is never the same. They realize money flows not from chance, but from balance. They see how effort, clarity, and payment create results. They understand that asking is not enough. One must speak in the code spirit's respect. This awakening is frightening for some, liberating for others. For once you learn how to open doors, you can no longer pretend they do not exist. The prosperity spell becomes not only a tool but a mirror, reflecting your own discipline, your own respect, your own willingness to honor your word. Walking the road with eyes open means living differently. You begin to notice that every success in life mirrors the crossroads: a deal struck, a payment given, a door unlocked. Business contracts, personal promises, spiritual pacts, all carry the same structure. The secret crossroads ritual teaches you to navigate them consciously. You stop expecting gifts without effort, and you start seeing opportunities as negotiations. This shift in mindset is the true wealth, the ability to create prosperity again and again because you finally understand the hidden grammar of exchange. And this initiation is not just about money. Those who honor the spirits often find changes in love, health, and influence. The esoteric prosperity ritual doesn't only attract wealth, it attracts movement. Stagnation breaks, relationships shift, hidden allies appear. New roads open where before there was only stone. It is as if life itself recognizes your new fluency in its coded language. The spirits, once paid and respected, walk with you, nudging fate in ways subtle and vast. But the greatest revelation is that nothing is random. That lucky break, that sudden call, that unexpected windfall, none of it is mere chance. It is the unseen responding to your coded petition. The occult secrets for prosperity are not about superstition, but about aligning with laws older than temples. You realize that honey, coins, hours, and fire are not just props. They are tools of translation, turning human desire into spirit-readable command. And once you've seen this translation work, you cannot unsee it. For some Bhaja, this is unsettling. To live with eyes open is to live without excuses. You cannot blame fate when you know the rules of the game. You cannot plead ignorance when you've signed contracts in honey and coin. But for others, this is the deepest empowerment. The mysterious ritual for wealth becomes a doorway, showing that you can negotiate with life itself, that nothing is completely closed if you know how to speak the right language. Prosperity, respect, and power are no longer distant dreams, but steps on a road you now know how to walk. And so the initiation is complete, not because the spirits have given you riches, but because they have taught you the price of riches: respect, clarity, and exchange. You step away from the crossroads not only with new prosperity, but with new eyes. Eyes that see contracts in every corner of life. Eyes that notice doors others ignore. Eyes that know how to pay, how to ask, and how to walk without fear. And once you've walked with such eyes, every road ahead gleams with possibility. Now that you've walked through the full map of this crossroads ritual, the real question is, will you act, or will you keep waiting for luck that never comes? The spirits of the crossroads do not answer those who hesitate. They answer those who prepare, who speak with respect, and who pay what is owed. If you truly want prosperity, you cannot remain a spectator. You must step into the ritual and put your own coin on the ground. What paths in your life are blocked right now? What opportunities keep slipping through your fingers? What debts weigh on you? Or what doors remain closed no matter how hard you push? Imagine them opening. Imagine money, influence, or protection flowing where there was nothing but silence. That vision can be more than imagination if you dare to use the code. The ritual for prosperity is not myth. It is technology for those bold enough to test it. So I'll ask you directly, are you ready to pay the toll and walk into a life where abundance answers when you call? Or will you keep walking past crossroads without noticing the guardians waiting in the shadows? The choice is yours, but prosperity favors the brave, not the passive. If this knowledge has stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Put it into action. And if you want to keep unlocking these hidden systems, the spells, the contracts, the forgotten truths, then subscribe to this channel, activate the notifications, and walk with me deeper into the unseen, because this was only the beginning.